Good Wednesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Wednesday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight, as always. But before we go on and get into that, as you know, it is Wednesday evening, which means we are halfway through the work week. Yes, halfway through the work week. Glad to see that. And we have Thursday and Friday left to go until we make it to the weekend. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, if we look on what's on tap right now, we're going to talk about our record slash near record warmth lingering tonight. We're going to talk about a strong cold front bringing in showers, thunderstorm activities on Thursday, a sharp cool down post frontal Thursday night slash Friday, and then we're going to see drier and milder weather this weekend with warming. And then our rain chances return late weekend, early next week, and then it's going to be a bit colder as we go into next week, especially during that Tuesday time frame, as we've been talking about for the past couple of days. Freezing temperatures may be trying to make its way into the equation. So let's go on and just waste no time. We're just going to go on and just start off with what's currently going on right now throughout the entire state of South Carolina. Well, right now, absolutely nothing is ongoing right now. And actually, if you've not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also, make sure you go and hit the subscribe button. We're at 715, trying to get to that main goal of 800. And share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, and people that you don't even talk to like that. Because it's free, and you and them can change their mind at any time. But now back to the radar. This is what's going on throughout the entire U.S. We have some snowfall, some mixed precipitation going on in Maine right now, some rainfall on the bottom side. We have some rainfall from Louisiana, up inside of Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and some of it even having some severe weather, even inside the mid-Atlantic as well. Let's talk about some of them real quick. Well, we have a tornado warning, two of them going on in Macomb, Mississippi, going on over inside of Magnolia, Mississippi, just to the north of Tylertown, in Starlinville and Ruth, Mississippi. All these areas receiving a tornado warning right now. Now, none of them right now are observed. All of them right now are radar indicated right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings going throughout parts of Louisiana, parts of Mississippi, and up here. Severe weather going on over here inside of areas just to the east of Philadelphia. Areas right now, which honestly I think that this is for some reason showing earlier. I think something's wrong with the winter weather precipitation right now. But rainfall, you have storms going on just to the east of Philadelphia, south and east. And then as we move our way over here into the northwest, obviously this is where we're going to have some rainfall, some snowfall going on inside the Pacific Northwest, going on over inside of like the northern Rockies as well. Now, what about for our cloud cover? Well, cloud cover right now actually seems to be, for the most part, not too much of an issue. We have some on the eastern side, for the most part, clear in the Midlands, clear in like the western low country, and maybe a bit inside the upstate as well, but cloud cover going on throughout parts of like the border areas as well, going on up there near Charlotte. And if we go on to look at that cloud cover for the future, we start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. You go on and push this forward, cloud cover now moving its way through. Here's like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m. Cloud cover now moving its way through. We're pretty much covered, like completely covered with cloud cover activity at this point. You move all the way through 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, still covered with cloud cover. And then as we get to 2 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, we're starting to receive that cold front. That cold front's starting to move its way down towards the south and east. We're receiving those cooler conditions. We're receiving that rainfall. Look behind the cold front. What do you see? You start to see cloud cover start to move its way out. And now, by 6 o'clock p.m., you're now nice and clear inside the upstate. Parts of the Midlands are clearing out a lot. PD areas are clearing out a lot. And then by the time you get to around 8 o'clock p.m., 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock p.m., cloud cover has now completely just moved its way out. And now at this point, we are nice and clear. Yes, nice and clear all the way through here. 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Nice and clear as we move all the way from Thursday night going into Friday morning. Friday during the day, you see some cloud cover maybe here and there, but it definitely a huge improvement over the cloud cover on Thursday. Now for our current temperatures, right now you have 71 in Somerville, 69 in Charleston, as well as Beaufort, 68 in Hilton Head Island, and 69 in Georgetown, 66 in Myrtle Beach, and even 66 in North Myrtle Beach, 72 in Conway, 77 in Sumter and Florence, 78 Hartsville and Columbia, even Lugoff, 78, 75 in Newberry, as well as 76 in Greenwood, 76 Anderson, and 73 in Greenville, 74 inside of Spartanburg, and 74 in Gaffney, York, and Rock Hill. Now for your air quality, looks like for the most part that it kind of cuts the state in half almost, but I do think that the majority is inside that good category. You can see the 0 to 50 areas, mainly being from the upstate, the Midland areas, the western low country, but the Tri-County areas going inside of the PD and the Grand Strand areas have a moderate risk of an air quality index. So pretty much just meaning we're in the 51 through the 100 category, which is not bad. Not bad. It is, definitely not quite unhealthy for sensitive groups quite yet, so it's not abnormal. Low temperatures for tonight, and you can see the huge just diversity that it has once you get into parts of the upstate, and then once you get into like parts of the Midlands, the Low Country, and the PD and Grand Strand areas as well. And so this is due to obviously that cold front. Due to the cold front, you're gonna have that cold front moving through during the nighttime hours. So that's during in like the upstate in like the early morning hours. So that's what's going to cause the temperatures up there to really go down lower than it will be in other areas where the low temperatures won't be that bad. But if this cold front, wouldn't have moved through tonight, we definitely would have been talking about temperatures, from the mid to upper 60s in terms of low temperatures all throughout the state, possibly talking about even another 90-degree day tomorrow. But that cold front moves through, and that's what knocks it down. So low temperatures for tonight, 52 Greenville, Spartanburg, 58 in Rock Hill, 57 in Anderson, and 58 in Greenwood, 65 in Newberry, 66 in Winsboro, 67 in Columbia, Camden, 66 in Sumter, 65 inside of Orangeburg and Barnwell, 65 in Walterboro and Moncks Corner, Kingstree, Charleston, 66 in Myrtle Beach, Georgetown, Hilton Head Island, Dillon, and Cheraw as well. So, for the most part, low temperatures for tonight really just depends on where you are. Now for our high temperatures for tomorrow, have around 58 in Greenville, 59 in Spartanburg, as well as 62 in Anderson, 64 in Lawrence, and 66 in Newberry, 67 in Winsboro, and 69 in Columbia and Aiken, Camden, 69 in Cheraw, 71 in Sumter, 72 Orangeburg, and 72 in Florence, Dillon, 73 Kingstree, and 74 Walterboro, 75 in Moncks Corner, 72 in Charleston, Hilton Head Island, 75 in Georgetown as well. So for the most part, it does look like that these temperatures are going to continue to, again, just stay kind of diverse as you go all the way from the low country areas, the Grand Strand areas, all the way up to the upstate for comparison. Now, one thing that I do want to say is that beware these temperatures right here that you are seeing, especially in that low country area and that, these warmer areas, is that these high temperatures will occur during the morning time hours because of the cold front. The cold front's going to move during the day, which means that the air that we get, the cold air that we get, is going to settle in during the daytime. So those temperatures are going to drop instead of rise during the daytime, which is going to cause our high temperatures to be during the morning time hours instead of the afternoon hours. So just keep in mind, we'll look at the temperatures in depth. Actually, we can just do it right now. Why not? Go ahead and change it up a little bit. Let's just go on and check out the temperatures right now for our for tomorrow, so you can see the timing and what I'm talking about. But here's right here our temperatures. We're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. where we just ended off at, or where we are right now. Time is at the bottom part of your screen. Make sure that you go on and pay attention to that. But we start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. You go on and push this forward. There goes the cold front moving in from the north and west. And you can see how it easily already starts to influence our weather up there inside the upstate. As early as 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning. That moves through. Here we are at 10 o'clock in the morning. Now we just have temperature activity inside of the upstate cooling down a lot more. Inside of like the Midlands, the Low Country, the PD areas, still up into the 60s and 70s. Then you will start to climb up. Here's 12 o'clock p.m. You have 40s up there inside of the upstate. You have 60s still over there inside of the PD areas as well, the Grand Strand areas. Then here's 1 o'clock p.m. And then here's 2 o'clock p.m. So, we push through 3 to 4 o'clock p.m. And, you see 49 inside of Colombia at your normal high temperature time. And if we go back, like I said, 9 o'clock in the morning, 69 degrees. If we look in Florence, 71, 72, 73 at 12 p.m. At 3 o'clock, it's 51. In Myrtle Beach, 68. I saw here at 1 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, it's 58. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of temperatures really happening during the morning time hours, early afternoon, like noon instead of the afternoon time frame, which it should happen in. So now that is out of the way, rainfall is definitely going to be a bit of an issue with this cold front. This cold front will bring moisture with it. It will bring all types of hazards tomorrow, which we'll talk about in just a second, especially once we get to the severe weather portion. But we have around a good quarter of an inch to a half an inch possible all the way from Myrtle Beach to Moncks Corner to Charleston to Kingstree, Walterboro, Hilton Island, Columbia, Girard, just all these areas from all the low country, pretty much almost all the Grand Strand PD areas. It's not really until you get into parts of the northern Midlands and the upstate to where you start to maybe see a half an inch to an inch. Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Winsboro, Newbury, Greenwood. All these areas, half an inch to an inch is possible. Now, in terms of your crazy score, if you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how crazy the weather is throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And we're going to talk about tonight. We're at a 24. Why? Well, it's going to be very mild tonight, very warm tonight. So that will be a bit of abnormalness. But for the most part, it's still fine, still calm. We're going to have gusts tonight of up to 20, 25 miles per hour, mainly in the open areas and the coastal areas. It will get a bit lighter, but for right now, it just seems like that they're starting to die down a little bit. But it's kind of going to taper off as you go into the overnight hours. Mostly dry tonight, and then for the most part, I think that is about it for the most part. So I think just the only reason why we're at that 24 really just because of maybe that slightly breezy conditions that happen, 20 mile per hour wind gusts possible. Right now, from what I'm seeing, I'm seeing right now nice and calm winds right now, so that probably was from earlier. I did feel a little bit of a breeze earlier when I went out, so that may have been a little bit there. SPC outlook for tonight. You do see this. You do see we did get a little marginal risk of severe weather. That was for Wednesday, March 11th, and just to make sure I don't have the wrong image. This is the right one. A little marginal risk up there for parts of the upstate. Now I do think that this really goes into like late tonight, going into early tomorrow morning when that system first starts to move in. So this is not for like the next hour or so. This is probably going to be a bit later tonight. And so what's the threat here? The main threat is a 5% risk of damaging winds. There's a 5% chance of damaging winds, meaning isolated damaging wind gusts from 40 to 60 miles per hour is possible with any storm. The secondary risk, it's not hail, it's an isolated tornado. Yes, an isolated tornado is possible with a little 2% risk of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point up there for a little bit of the upstate. It's for parts like western Anderson County, going inside of Oconee County, western Pickens County as well. And like I said, that's not the main threat. So, there's a good chance that you may not even see a tornado warning. There's a good chance you may not even see a severe thunderstorm warning. Could see a special weather statement, though, or could see just a round of heavy rainfall move through. Whatever it may be, make sure that you are prepared for it just in case you get that warning. And we'll talk about the exact model guidance in just a second. Tomorrow's kind of the bigger day. Why? Well, for the most part, it looks like that we do have a marginal risk of severe weather. Columbia, Florence, Aiken is included. You have up there near Greenwood is included. Chapin is included. You have areas like Pageland, Dillon, Cheraw. All of these areas up here have a risk of isolated damaging wind gusts. Yes, that's the main threat. Isolated damaging wind gusts are possible with some storms up to 40 to 60 miles per hour is possible. And so make sure that you again are prepared for this for tomorrow, because this could definitely spawn in some storms with those gusts 40 to 60 miles per hour, as I said. So make sure that you are prepared for this tomorrow. After that, though, Friday comes along nice and calm. No thunderstorm activity expected for Friday. Friday is just going to be a nice breath of fresh air after, a day full of thunderstorms. Now, in terms of fire weather, that's not expected. Excessive rainfall, not expected either, so we don't have anything to really watch for there. So let's go in and look at the models. So the models, time is at the bottom part of your screen. Make sure you go in and pay attention to that. We're starting off here at 9 o'clock p.m. Going on just to push this forward. And you can see, we get to around 12 o'clock in the morning. Still not seeing anything too crazy. 3 o'clock, still nothing too crazy. It's not really until you get to around 6 o'clock in the morning that you really start to see that rainfall starting to push its way through. And, we can even go in and look at a later model guidance right here. Go to the latest run, the 0Z. And just see what the 0Z has to say. It starts off 9 o'clock p.m. It has some rainfall moving through. I guess it's these little showers right here that they're talking about potentially with that risk. If it gets inside of a good environment, it starts to get stronger. Definitely could see that severe weather kind of starting to happen. But then that goes all the way through 2 o'clock in the morning, going all the way to 6 o'clock in the morning. Here we have now rainfall moving in throughout the upstate, and it's, relatively that rainfall that comes along and kind of sits there for a little bit, 6 o'clock in the morning all the way here to 9 o'clock in the morning. And now, as it pushes through the upstate, throughout like the early morning hours, once you get into that Midland time frame, it's going to be around 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. And then you can really start to see that line. You can really start to see that line of potential damaging wind gusts and potential gusty winds for sure going on throughout the state. This is 10 o'clock in the morning. This pushes through. You're pushing through the low country and the southern Midlands by around 11 to 12 o'clock p.m. Pushing through the PD areas at around 11 o'clock in the morning to around 1 o'clock p.m. or so. And so, not only does that main line move through, but there will be showers behind it. So, just because you're done with the main line does not mean that you're done with rainfall activity. And, still bring rainfall over into the low country areas, still bring some rainfall over inside of like the Grand Strand areas by around 3 p.m. And even by around 5 p.m., which we are right now, it still shows some isolated shower activity in parts of the low country and parts of the PD and Grand Strand area. So, this system is going to try and stay here for a good little bit. But again, if you want to see the radar lapse one again, from around 5 o'clock in the morning, pushes through the upstate, moving through the upstate through 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock reaches the upstate. You're really starting to see that line here of gusty winds, maybe some strong to severe winds trying to move through it. Then by 11 o'clock in the morning, moving throughout like the southern Midlands, moving throughout the western low country as well. And then just as it continues to push its way through, all the way to 5 o'clock p.m., it's now out. So that's what we're looking at here in terms of our rainfall activity. Really, as we go all the way through around 7 o'clock p.m.-ish or so, because it seemed like by around 7 o'clock it'll be out of here, maybe even a bit earlier than that by tomorrow. And so if we go back to the 18Z real quick, so we can go in and see the rest of this model out. It gets out of there, cold front moves through, and we're dry Friday. Friday just looks like it's going to be a nice, dry, clear day. We're having fun in the sun on Friday, and it is nice, clear, and a bit cooler, obviously. It's not going to be as warm, up into the 80s and 90s. But if we go on and look at those actual temperatures right now, for the most part, as I put you guys on the what's on tap screen, there it is right there. Looking like our high temperatures, going into Friday, they're going to be like up into like the 60s or so. And then as you get into Saturday, they rebound back up into the 70s. So, like I said, high temperatures on Friday, they won't be as warm, but, it still will be a pretty good day nonetheless. Highs in the 60s, better than highs in the 50s or 40s or anything like that. So let's go on and talk about, now that is out of the way, let's go on and talk about the long-term future. because we have a couple of stuff to talk about here in the long-term future, not just the short term, but the long term as well. Because obviously we have to go on and talk about after the front, and going into like this weekend, we have to talk about our rain chances as well as we go into like Sunday, maybe going into like early Monday, and then we got to talk about that huge cold blast that's going to make its way through as we go into later into early next week. So we're going to check out all that right now. But starting off with rainfall first before we get into temperatures, I mean, you can see Friday coming along still nice and dry. Saturday comes along and, for the most part, dry. It seems like we're going to have a nice Saturday. So the start of the weekend is definitely going to be good. But Sunday comes along, and that's when you start to see that rainfall activity starting to move in from the Atlantic, moving into the low country, moving into the Midlands, moving into the PD and the Grand Strand areas or so. And so that will definitely cause some very good rainfall. We need this rainfall. As much as it may ruin a weekend plan that you have on Sunday, definitely much needed rainfall. And also can also help get the pollen off of areas as well. So honestly, that's another win for itself. And that goes through Sunday, moves along, and it just looks like it's going to be an active, gloomy, rainy Sunday. Then we move into Monday. Monday comes along here at 8 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, and now you have rainfall just continuing to go on and push its way out, even by the time you get into 11 o'clock p.m. And so what is this? Well, this is the second cold front that we've been talking about for the past couple of days. As the one on Thursday, that's not the only cold front. We're going to have another cold front, obviously, like I just said, on Monday. So that one will move through. And this one will most likely be more significant than the one that we will see on Thursday, bringing us some cooler conditions. It will bring us some dry conditions on Tuesday, though. So that's something to look for. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean, we could be talking about a really dry week after like Monday of next week. Going into like the week after next week, I mean, we're still dry. Not really until we get into like the 300 plus hour mark that we start to maybe see some rainfall starting to move its way back through. Maybe near like the late part of March, another system could try to move through. But for right now, I mean, it looks like that it's going to be dry, after we reach that Monday or so of next week, and kind of just have a nice week ahead of us. So, I mean, that's possible. But even though it's nice, does not mean that it will be warm. Does not mean it will be warm. In fact, if we go on and look at the temperature anomalies right now, we're going to start off here at 2 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. I mean, we're 20 degrees above average right now. We're nice. I mean, people probably have the AC on right now. AC right now in my house is running right now as we currently speak. But as we continue this forward, people will be switching back to the heat pretty quickly as we start to receive those temperatures down to 9 to 10 degrees below average. And, that might not be bad. That might not be bad for some people. Some people may not turn on the heat as, you go into that part, which is totally fine. Totally fine. Friday comes along, still just near normal. Saturday comes along, we're starting to get back to 10 to 15 degrees above average. I mean, this is great. This is all great. Warm weekend ahead. We know it's going to rain a little bit on Sunday, but I mean, for the most part, it looks like a warm weekend. Even as you go through Sunday evening, Sunday night. But unfortunately, I said that you may have the air conditioning turned off, the heat turned on potentially as you go into like tomorrow night going into Friday. You definitely will most likely have the heat on as you go into Monday night going into just Monday in general, just going on into Tuesday. I mean, we're seeing temperatures 15 to 20 degrees below average during the nighttime hours. I mean, during the day, 15 to 20 degrees below average. And we stay cold, not only just throughout the beginning of that week, but also as we go to parts of the end of that week as well. That will continue to stay with us even as we get all the way through Saturday. I mean, Saturday of next week, we still are seeing temperatures just staying normal. Not above average, not really too much below average, just 0 degrees above or below average. Now that goes through, and we start to warm back up. I mean, easily we're starting to warm back up going into Saturday, going into Sunday of the week after next week, March the 21st, March the 22nd. I mean, we're starting to see temperature anomalies get back up to that 10 to 15 degrees above average mark. And that goes on all the way through Monday, Tuesday. Now, this is where we get 300 hours out. And so this is where we're really going to have to, pay attention. But it looks like the ending part of March, there may be a little cold air damming setup that we might have to look out for there. So, that's something not too great to look at. But warm air could definitely precede it. Now, what about for our actual temperatures? Because, we're looking at the anomalies, but you want to know what the actual temperatures are going to be, what the actual temperatures are going to feel like, most likely. And so, if we go on and look at it, we're going to start off here at 5 o'clock in the morning on Thursday tonight. We push through, there goes our main cold front moving its way through, and we get 30 to 40 degrees or so as you go into like tomorrow night, going into Friday, which is why I said, some people may have the heat turned on going into Thursday night, going into Friday. If you can deal with 50 degrees without heat, well, you can do you. If you're in the upstate, you probably will. I mean, 38 degrees. If you can deal with, your house with no heat and it's 38 degrees outside, I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. But if you continue your way through, we start to warm back up. The heat's not going to be on, hopefully, for too long. I mean, I still see some 40s going in on Saturday, maybe a little bit. But, I mean, we start to warm up. I mean, here's Sunday at 2 o'clock in the morning and Saturday night here. I mean, we have temperatures here starting to get back up into the 50s or so. And what the world happened there? There we go. But you're starting to see that go along. And, we're warm. I mean, we're maybe even trying to get back up into like the little low 80s potentially as we go into Sunday during the day, as we're getting our rainfall and such. Even as we go into Monday. But look at this. Cold front moving through as we go through Monday during the day on Monday. And so that will move its way out. And like I said, you definitely will be having that heat on as you go into early next week, as temperatures will be back to below freezing up there inside of the upstate, Midlands, near like the high 30s, like the coastal areas around like the 40s. Then as you go all the way through, I mean, this is Wednesday right here, Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning, we are now pretty much the upstate's below freezing at this point. Midlands are now inside of close to below freezing, Columbia 37 or so, somewhere around there. Coastal areas can be all the way from the 40s down to like the high 30s. I mean, it's all over the place right now. All over the place. And that may last a little bit until, we get maybe into like the end part of the week and, we start to warm back up, start to get back up into the 70s or so. I mean, we're seeing 80s potentially as we go into like Monday or so of the 23rd. But one thing that I do want to look at is just as we get into like the 200-hour mark, just look at the anomalies, see what the anomalies have to say. Not the anomalies, the ensembles, what the ensembles have to say in terms of these temperatures here. And, because they're more off of an average basis here. But if we go in and push this forward, I mean, they also have some 40s still staying as you go into like Friday the 20th here, continuing our way through. I mean, it has us getting back up into the 70s by the time we get in like here Sunday on the 22nd here. Trying to maybe even get back into the 80s as early as Tuesday of the 24th. But, I mean, it definitely does look like a cold rebound definitely is making its way through. Now, it does not have that cold air damming setup that the GFS had earlier. It just has, like, our 70s kind of remaining. So that's something maybe to look out for. Maybe see if that's just a one-run wonder right there from the GFS. Or, because, I mean, we saw it yesterday. But will it continue? Will it go away? All that's possible. So that's pretty much all I have to say here for tonight. In terms of the long-term future, short-term future, let me make sure I went over everything. Seems like that I have. So let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, let me make this live chat. Maya Lewis was here first. He says, "Good evening, everyone. I pray that everyone had a great day." Well, I did. Thank you so much for asking. And then Mr. Chris says, "Good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day." Well, I did. Thank you so much for asking as well. Mr. Chris says, currently it's 75 degrees here in Moncks Corner and cloudy. Got to around 89 degrees today as a high. Well, at my house, it got to a high degree of 88. And currently, it's around 71 at my house. Currently, it's around 71. Maya Lewis says today's high in Georgetown was around 82. Mr. Chris says, please remember to go hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know. It's free and it helps the channel grow. Absolutely. Absolutely. That definitely does help out. As right now, we're around 13 people that have tuned in tonight and we only have 6 likes. So if you're a part of that group, then not the like button. You're going and do so. It's free and you can change your mind at any time. Maya Lewis says currently it's 69. Continue our way down. We had beautiful weather today. However, that pollen was a bit too much. Sinus problems. Yes, that pollen was a mess today, and I had to go out in it today, get some stuff done outside. So, had to be all out inside the pollen today. And Mr. Chris says there is a lake wind advisory for us tonight or a wind advisory in effect for us until tomorrow at 8 o'clock p.m. And yes, I did see that. That's due to the cold front obviously moving its way through. Usually anytime you have a cold front with breezy conditions, they're going to issue a lake wind advisory for y'all every single time pretty much. And I even get it on my Alexa as well. Every time there's a lake wind advisory, even though nowhere near a lake, I still get the advisory. And I think that they do that for... it's really only for Berkeley County, but because I'm very close to Berkeley County, it puts, towns kind of, split up between Charleston County, split up between Dorchester and Berkeley County, and so since it's split between the three, I get all of the warnings. From Dorchester, I get, wind advisories from Berkeley, I get coastal flood advisories, rip tide statements, all from Charleston County, and it's just everything. I get everything, even stuff that I don't want. So, I just have to deal with that. But yes, I do get it every single time. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. Mr. Chris says, same here. The pollen is really bad. Yes, it is. When the rain comes through, though, we'll bring it down. Hope so. Really bad on my sinuses. Yeah. Rainfall, like I said earlier, that definitely will go on and help out with this pollen issue today, going into tomorrow, and especially going to this weekend as well, because remember, rainfall is possible on Sunday and Monday of next week as well, so that also could help out with that pollen as well. So now that that is out of the way, let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what are you talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we go in and give them their forecast for them. Starting off first with San Antonio, Texas, you have low temperatures tonight, 47, high temperatures for tomorrow at 68, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 44. Precipitation, not expected at this time. And in terms of just, even throughout the next 7 days, you're just not going to have any precipitation. Now, in terms of severe weather and excessive rainfall, that's not going to be an issue for you, so I wouldn't really, be, concerned about that or anything like that. And then for your future, you will have those temperatures starting to get back up into the 80s. You see 68 tomorrow, you see 78 on Friday, you see 85 on Saturday. Sunday, you may even see 90 degrees on Sunday. And then you go all the way through Monday, and everything just cools right back down to 66, 72 on Tuesday, 79 on Wednesday. And those wind gusts will also be up there as well. We're talking about wind gusts tonight of up to 35 miles per hour. We're talking about wind gusts tomorrow of up to 25. We're talking about wind gusts this weekend going into Sunday night being as high as 35 miles per hour. So these wind gusts are going to start kind of kicking up as you get towards tomorrow and then as you get into Sunday night. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at around 67. High temperatures for tomorrow at 69. Then low temperatures for tomorrow night at 34. But don't let that high temperature fool you, like I said for South Carolina earlier. Just because it says your high temperature is 69, that means that your obviously your high temperature you would think it'd be during the afternoon. No, it's actually during the morning time. Temperature will fall to around 45 degrees by 4 o'clock p.m. And it's also going to be a bit breezy tomorrow, gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. Rain is expected as you go throughout tomorrow as well, so make sure you're prepared for that. But tomorrow night, you're good. So again, just be wary of that high temperature. It's going to instead just be tomorrow morning instead, and like tomorrow, like late morning instead of the afternoon and evening. Now, in terms of your future, looks like, actually, severe weather. Before we get to that, it's severe weather and excessive rainfall. Excessive rainfall is not expected for any of the locations, but severe weather is possible for you tomorrow. You have a marginal risk of severe weather, mainly for damaging winds. That's really the only threat for you, damaging winds. Isolated 40 to 60 miles per hour tomorrow. Make sure that you are prepared for that, and you have a way to get warnings just in case if one does come by. Special weather statement, severe thunderstorm warning. Make sure that you get it. Now, for your future, it looks like for the most part that you will continue to kind of just stay in the 60s in terms of your highs. You know, you actually will warm up a little bit. I mean, Sunday 73, 72 on Monday, but then you'll cool right back down Tuesday 49, Wednesday 51. So things will continue to go on and kind of just stay a bit cool. I mean, your warmest day as you go throughout like the next 7 days or so will probably be around Sunday and Monday. Now, in terms of Philadelphia, that being the third location, low temperatures tonight at around 45, high temperatures for tomorrow at around 53, and then low temperatures for tomorrow night at around 32. Severe thunderstorms, obviously, being mostly done, which is why they kind of got rid of it. It just says heavy rainfall now, but before this, it said severe thunderstorms. Now it doesn't. Because you're done with severe thunderstorms. In fact, they've already got you out of the severe thunderstorm watch, meaning that you are done with severe weather for tonight. You're all in the clear. Does not mean that you're done with rainfall, though. Does not mean that you're done with rainfall, though. There definitely could be a good amount of rainfall that tries to push through over like the next couple hours or so. So I would not be, done in terms of looking out for rainfall. Severe weather, like I said, you got rid of that. You're done. And then for your future, looks like, after just for the most part tomorrow, your rain chance being there. Looks like that you may have a chance of rainfall on Sunday night, chance of rainfall there. And then it may up to around a 90% chance as you go throughout the nighttime hours. Monday, you have a 90%. Monday night is 60%. So it's kind of just going up as you go into this weekend. Temperatures, on the other hand, though, will just stay in the 50s. In fact, your temperatures will drop pretty dramatically as you go into next week, Tuesday. Temperatures down to 39 for high temperatures. Low temperatures down to 25. So that's what it just looks like for you there. And then Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight 34, high temperatures for tomorrow at around 64, and then low temperatures for tomorrow night at 44. Precipitation not expected throughout the next 7 days. It's going to be pretty calm, but it will be windy. Tonight, you'll have wind gusts as high as 33 miles per hour. Tomorrow, wind gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. It's going to be windy on Sunday. It's going to be windy on Sunday night as well, with gusts as high as... let's go ahead and check it out real quick. I wonder if they have the exact ones out right now. We're going to go to... Let's go to like 1 a.m. on Sunday. They're saying gusts close to around 40 miles per hour. So, I mean, that's what they're talking about as you go all the way through Sunday, potentially even going into Monday as well. Wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour on Monday as well. So things, for the most part, for you are looking like that. It will continue to kind of just go up in terms of gusts. And, in terms of your temperatures as well, temperatures for the most part for your future kind of just looks like that you are going to most likely just stay up into the 80s as you go into like this weekend, 70s a little bit, but you will cool down as you go into next week. Monday 54, Tuesday 69, but then you'll climb right back up to 80 on Wednesday. Now for your severe weather, excessive rainfall, nothing really, bad in terms of like storms or anything like that, but you do in fact have an elevated fire weather conditions risk, meaning that a little bit of a fire risk for tomorrow. You're not critical. You're not extremely critical like, like areas over there in western Oklahoma, Elk City, Altus, Woodward. Those areas over there have a higher fire weather risk than you do. But if you don't have to burn anything tomorrow, I just wouldn't. Just my advice. But that's pretty much all I have to say here for tonight. Let me go on and check out the chat one more time, see if I have anything here. Mr. Chris says, everyone please remember, stay safe and hydrated. Absolutely. Let me check out my email, see if we have anything here. Don't see anything here. Let's see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. Gusty winds and low relative humidity will bring critical fire weather to the central and the southern plains and South Texas on Thursday. Widespread high wind will continue to impact the interior northwest, the northern plains, and the upper Midwest on Thursday. Tomorrow, excuse me. A storm tracking across the northern plains, Great Lakes, and into the northeast U.S. will bring heavy snow and gusty winds Thursday into Saturday. Also, like Mr. Chris was talking about earlier, lake wind advisory over there for a good amount of the state of South Carolina as that cold front moves in. It's going to be a bit breezy tomorrow, so make sure you are prepared for that. Make sure you also have your rainfall gear for tomorrow as well. Wherever you are, whatever region you are, we'll have another update video again tomorrow morning, around like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you go out after that, you can go in and tune into that. And then winter weather going on up there inside of the northern areas. I think we already talked about that. And I think that's about all. I think that is about all for the most part. There is a heat advisory over there inside of California, like in the San Diego areas, but it's for the low to mid 90s. So they're getting up into the 90s all the way Los Angeles over to San Diego, those areas over there. And then severe weather is still going on as well. And there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Just a lot of stuff. I mean, I could be talking about every individual areas for a very long period of time, but obviously probably don't want to hear all that right now tonight. But that's all that I have to say here, top fans of the night for tonight. It was still between Mr. Chris and my Aunt Lulu. Let me go in and count them up. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, so Mr. Chris won tonight. My Aunt Lulu's at number 2. And then Mr. Anthony's at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Being a subscriber, because if you're not a subscriber, you can't type. Being active and being here early. If you do all 4, you have a good chance of getting that top fan of the night. And you have a pretty high likelihood of making it into the top 3, unless it's a very competitive night. But go on, let's go ahead and give them a round of applause for that. And that's about all I have to say here for tonight. So, everyone have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday evening. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning for your Thursday morning forecast update and tomorrow evening for your Thursday evening forecast update. We're going to talk about the drop monitor tomorrow. Kind of interested to see how that looks, especially after, a lot of areas on the low country. I know like where I am got around an inch, close to an inch and a half of rainfall. So I'm kind of interested to see what it's going to look like. We'll have the predictions out tomorrow night. And everyone have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday evening. Make sure you go in and hit those 2 buttons before you leave. Subscribe and like.